I've heard good stuff about Arrow, but I'm like, Barry, you keep making the same stupid mistakes.
Oh my gosh, we could have a whole podcast on the CW. Now, Flash was good up until about season 5, and Supergirl, it was all right. I watched half of the first season. I didn't watch Legends.
The first season was actually on CBS. I watched it for a while, but then I got bored. But then I got bored with that, and it was just too much. There was just too much superhero TV. Which movie are you talking about? I must have missed.
She's probably talking about Titanic.
Titanic. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. Well, anyway. Now, to transition us. So, for those who are listening to the audio of this after the fact, hello, Henshin heroes. I'm Nathan as usual, and with me are
Jake, Metal Don.
Chris, the Sentai guy.
Who is actually alive. So, we're going, before we...
No, we established this. I'm AI, sir. I have been augmented by AI Musk. You know, I am a Tesla bot now.
Yeah, you're a Tesla bot now. Yeah, we've been over this. But, if you want to get all the context for all this, watch the Christmas live stream. But this is probably going to get clipped out and put out as a bonus episode because we need to do some follow-ups. A lot of insane things have been happening. The three of us have been wanting to talk about it, and we finally were able to find the time to do it tonight for our Christmas special. I also need to do a follow-up, and unfortunately I haven't released this audio yet. I'm still going to, but I did a bonus episode talking about the whole Maya Gate scandal with with the current Sentai and that actress who just got run through the ringer. I did that with Rizwan Merchant from from Toku Secrets, our friends over there. We did a little crossover episode about that. Well, it's a little over 3 hours, but we did a live stream for that. And we did get into some of these subjects, but a ton of new stuff has happened. We also need to do a follow-up with a discussion that we had in one of our actually, I think it was our Halloween live stream, because we have an update on the whole Ninja Kidz Power Ranger scandal. That blew up too. Right before.
Yep.
Oh, what wonderful gifts we have been getting right before Christmas.
Thank you, Hasbro.
Yeah, because it's all Hasbro's fault. It is all mother trucking Hasbro's fault. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about? We're not the Maya Gate stuff. That's done. So you know what? Let's start with the Ninja Kidz stuff because we actually talked about that and there's a lot to update. So the Ninja Kidz Power Ranger series has been officially canceled by Hasbro. They made this announcement.
Because it looked too good.
Yeah, the exact word was it looked too professional. Now, a statement was put out by the guy who runs I'm going to find it. By the guy who runs Ninja Kidz, which is basically a martial arts club. From what I've been able to piece together, it's a martial arts club. Yeah, his last name is Myler. Let me see if I can find his full name. Let's see. Because I don't remember. Shane Myler. Okay? He issued a statement to a YouTuber and a website called Legacy of Nerd. He's and Legacy of Nerd, that guy over there, he's a massive Power Rangers fan. So he issued a statement talking about all of this. And it's clarified. So again, I want to say this. I'm going to read the statement exactly because I don't want to take this guy out of context. Because this has become quite the Ninja Kidz and the people associated with it have become magnets for controversy, and I think needlessly so. And there's people, from all different, political persuasions and all of that are arguing over this, or at least they were for a while. Some of these content creators are accusing each other of making stuff up and things like that, and even some colleagues of mine in the podcasting world have very different opinions about all of these things. So I'm going to read this Mr. Myler's statement in his own words. And I will preface this by saying, I'm giving this guy the benefit of the doubt and taking him at face value. But here it goes, and then we'll talk about this a bit. Quote, we are doing everything in our power to release episodes 10 to 13 of Power Rangers Ninja Kidz, and we have been wanting to share why we haven't, but this is all we can share for now. We submitted a teaser draft to Hasbro and Playmates, because that need to keep in mind, Playmates, not Hasbro, my understanding, or Hasbro gave very little money. This is mostly being funded by Playmates. On September 24th, and a draft of episode 1 on September 26th. Both Playmates and Hasbro initially reacted with excitement and shared that, we exceeded expectations. We anxiously awaited additional feedback. Then, on October 3rd, the unthinkable happened. Hasbro's legal team issued a cease and desist, claiming Playmates didn't have the authority to make the deal with Ninja Kidz. We were later told that the project looked too professional and it could interfere with Hasbro's future plans. That was devastating. This was never meant to compete with an official reboot. Some of you later saw that teaser after it got leaked on October 17th. Concerns were raised by a few people about AI and visual effects. What you saw was never meant to be final. We were under tight deadlines to submit a rough cut, and like many productions today, our editors and VFX artists used a mix of traditional techniques and newer AI-assisted tools to explore ideas quickly. We were genuinely excited seeing characters like Goldar and Finster come to life in new ways. Things that would have been incredibly expensive or time-consuming to do at that stage using only traditional methods. Most of the generative AI effects were simply placeholders, always intended to be replaced once we had clear creative direction and approvals. One example was the AI news anchor in the teaser, which was standing in for a cameo role. We had already cast Jason Font to play. We were also working on additional legacy cameos to pay homage to the Power Rangers legacy and fandom. End quotes. Now, like I said, some of my colleagues hear that and they disregard it. They can't get past the AI thing and don't believe that it was meant to be placeholders. They think he's trying to save face. I believe him.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're on a timeline using AI to quickly render stuff. Okay, when we get to the final product, this is a facsimile of what it will look like. This is a representation, but it's not, we don't have the funds yet to do this, so they used AI to try to get the project funded, and the problem is they did too good of a job.
Yeah. And I want to know who leaked that trailer, because that was a firestorm. That got them a ton of unwanted attention. People were condemning them for using generative AI. And then because of that, I've heard stories, again, not 100% sure how true any of this is, but I've heard stories about some of the people associated with Ninja Kidz, including the kids themselves, getting doxxed, and people were finding out who they voted for in past elections and trying to throw them under the bus because they were, they came from a conservative family, and how dare they, all that sort of stuff. Like, that has nothing to do with this, okay? Stop making it political when it doesn't need to be political, please. to tell you some of the content creators in Ranger Nation are potentially insane, and not the kind of insane that I like. Because I've seen a lot of people criticize the Ranger fandom. And let me tell you, the stuff that I have been seeing and I have been hearing about, I really want to believe that the people who are acting like this are the minority, because I don't want to be part of a fandom that is doing this sort of stuff.
Nope.
I was like, absolutely. It's like, you should know better. This thing that you say you love would not stand for this sort of stuff. I even saw a guy who went so far as to say, if Jason David Frank was still alive, he'd be disgusted with all of you.
Oh, for sure.
Let's put it this way. Whoever's doing that, you are not fans of that franchise, because you're doing everything that, especially early on, they were teaching you not to do about being bullying and harassing people. And just because they had a different point of view than you, I mean,
yeah.
Even in the Sentai, they would address stuff like that. It was always meant to like learn how to live with people who you disagree with, work with people you disagree with, and to remember that we're all human beings. So you're not fans, just like the majority of the Star Wars online community. You're not fans of Star Wars. You're just a bunch of trolls leeching onto something, trying to destroy, because you can't be happy. You're trying to destroy things that make everybody else happy.
Well, in their defense, nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans. That's been true for about 30 years at this point. I guess we can say the same thing about Ranger Nation. Nobody hates Power Rangers like Power Rangers fans.
The thing is, though, when you get away from the internet and you start talking to real people, the sequels are very much disliked. But when you get away from the internet, talking to Star Wars fans, the prequels are liked. The original trilogy is everybody's favorite for the most part. But a lot of the vitriol comes from segments of the online.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think it's really Star Wars fans. I just think that the internet is full of trolls, and they latch onto things, and that they may actually like it, but they also don't like being happy, or don't like people disagreeing with them about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does go both ways too, because if you go on the internet and you'll see people talk good about it, and you're like, oh, well, I do like that a little bit more now, seeing it this way.
Yeah,
there are shills as well. Toxic positivity is a thing.
Yeah.
But to go back to this, I'm actually disappointed to see this happen. I mean, I was disappointed that they were using AI, but I was still willing to give them a chance. If they can utilize it well, utilize it right, especially at this kind of this level of production. I get it. I have a complicated relationship with AI. I prefer not to use generative AI. It's why I got annoyed with myself seeing that was apparently like AI generated. I'm going to make a real one at some point, even if I have to commission somebody like my friend Kaiju Kim to make it for me. But I wanted to see this thing work. They've done some stuff before, so I guess if we wanted to, we could go back and watch their older stuff when it was really shoestring budget and the kids were really small. We're talking like 8 years old, Power Kennys, basically. Mm-hmm. If you know, you know. But I wanted to see this thing exist. I wanted to see it succeed. I wanted to see what they could do. When you look at the trailer and you ignore the 15 seconds or whatever of AI that's in it, a teaser that was not meant to be seen publicly, apparently, it looked fantastic. These kids know what they're doing. They're doing real stunts in real costumes. And I don't just mean the spandex that was based on the stuff that Tokujay made for Power Rangers. They made tokusatsu suits for Goldar and Finster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they